one thing that can help, it helped me, was actively listening. Men, we have to be present when our women, they're talking. We know they talk a lot. I mean, that's just women. They gonna go on, they gonna hit 10 different points and be like, and then ask you about point one. You like, well, you just said about 9 other things, so I'm trying to process all this together, right? So we What's up, family? It's your boy Jet Lee. You are now tuned in to another episode of the Load Up Podcast, where we encourage people to find their purpose, their dreams, their passion, and you go and live it. Load up every single day, man. That's what it's all about. And this podcast here is just to help you find your purpose, find your dreams, encourage you, inspire you to go out there and live your best life, man. Like I said, I'm your boy Jet Lee. I'm with my co-host, the best in the world, Cortne B. What's going on?
I like it. I like it. Amp
You
me up
like
then.
it? Yeah.
Nah, I'm good. I'm excited. We back.
Yeah.
And
We back.
yeah, we got an incredible topic today and fired up, ain't it?
Yeah, you look good as usual.
Thank you,
Just want to
baby.
give you that
Thank
compliment.
you.
You're welcome.
You must
Hey,
want some.
no, well, no, I just want to give you that compliment.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Guys, but hey, I'm locked in. I got my shades on today. I wanted to do them with the intro, you know what I'm saying? And she was like, but hey, I just got to
Take
be
them
me.
shades off.
All right, all right, but man, this episode here, me and Corey, we've been talking about it, and we was like, yo, this one right here it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
Communication. Communication rule the nation, right? We know communication is everywhere.
Yeah.
It's every day. We communicate in all type of ways, physical, non-verbal, verbal, at work. Even on the road we communicate. You got stoplights, stop signs. You got road signs to tell you what to do, when to go, slow down,
Yeah.
stop when so it's communicating. We're communicating every day, all day, and this is all in different forms. So we just thought that this would be a great topic to talk about, and hopefully it can help you or set you free in the area in your life. So we want to bring it up. First thing first is, couples communication, right? Marriage communication. I know when me and Courtney first got together, our communication was a little rocky. It started off a little rough. I did some things that I communicated in some ways where I could have did that better. And same for her. It was some ways that she had to deal with that. She could have communicated things better, right? But that kind of then when we started talking about it, it kind of go back to how we grew up and how we was raised and different things. So that first wave that we went through, like when me and you first got together, we was kind of bumping heads with communication. What were some of those things that we did to kind of get over that, that hump of, okay, we are, our communication is off, but we know that we can be better and we know that we can do better.
Yeah. I think one thing that mainly changed for me was marriage counseling. And
Okay.
I remember he told us never stop talking.
Right.
No matter how hard it is, no matter how tough it is, no matter, the severity or how light the conversation is, have the conversation so that you'll be on the same page. And, I'm very vocal.
Yeah.
So when we got together and you were more kind of in a shell a little, it was different for me because I'm like, why you just say how you feel?
Right.
And I think the personalities were completely different.
Right.
Like for me, like when I feel hard, and although some of the things I say may kind of come off a little hard, in my heart, I don't really mean it that way.
Right.
So it may seem like, I'm being aggressive or I'm being just hard all the time.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's just being really passionate about how I feel. For you, it was like, I just want to keep down the confusion. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
say nothing.
Yeah.
No, I can't live like that. Like, I need to go ahead and say how I feel. So at least you ain't got to guess.
Right.
You don't have to think about it if I actually tell you how I feel about it.
Right.
So I think what changed for me was um, never stop talking. Like,
Right.
if I don't like something, or if I disagree with something, talk about it.
Right.
And I think what I also had to learn was delivery.
Mm.
So the way that I said certain things, although it wasn't bad, it was just the way. I know my mom used to tell me all the time, it ain't what you say, it's how you say it.
Right.
So I think getting to a point where I had to understand, okay, Courtney, think about it first. Like, don't just, because I used to be like, whatever come out,
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say it right now to get it over with. But then now I kind of think it through.
Yeah.
One, when you really think about it, it's not even that deep.
Right.
Probably don't even need to talk about it. When you really do go and just think first before reacting.
Right.
And then when you get a time or get a chance to think through what just happened, you can process it different. A lot of times, and I tell you, well, I ain't gonna talk about it right now because I'm still emotional about it, or I'm still upset about it. When I'm no longer upset, then I can communicate with you. Now you can understand better, and we can really get to an understanding because I'm not just at you about it. So I think for me, it was just understanding, never stop talking, and delivery on when you do talk, so that we both can get an understanding.
That's good. And for me, like you said, I was a little reserved, first because I wanted to just keep down the confusion. And I feel like a lot of men kind of like that, whatever my wife, my girl say, just go with it. So
No.
you don't have to argue and whatnot. But that's unhealthy because men have feelings, we have emotions or whatnot,
Yeah.
and we should be able to express that and not feel the wrath of the woman afterwards. But for me, I had to just be comfortable with your reaction. Like even if it was just gonna be good or bad or whatever you was gonna give me, I had to just be okay with that.
Yeah.
And I had to get to a point where I was just like, okay, if she gonna be mad, I just gotta say it because I knew that was like we was miscommunication because I wasn't communicating. You was just telling me how you felt and what you wanted, but I wasn't telling you what I needed or what I wanted. And so
Communication isn't
yeah,
one way.
it-
It's
yeah.
not a one-way street.
Yeah, it's not a one way.
Yeah.
It's not a one way street. It's two ways. So you at me because I'm not telling you what I need. I'm not communicating to you, and so I had to just be okay. Just be a man, stand 10 toes down, and say how you feel. And if she reacts this way, that's okay. You had to get it out. She'll be okay. She'll get over it. But if she acts this way, then okay, cool. Everything worked out smoothly, and
Oh, something just hit me.
okay.
I think a lot of times fear stops people from
From
communicating
communicating, yeah.
because you were kind of afraid of what I would say or how I would react. And I think a lot of people communicate like that. Like,
Right.
I don't want them to get mad, or if I
Yeah.
call and tell, this person what's really going on, they may not, be my friend no more, or in our relationship, they may not want to be with me anymore. But instead of giving that person a chance to react or a chance to, because it's so funny because now that
Now.
we're growing and we're communicating, he be looking
Right.
like, that's all you gonna say?
That's all.
You good? Oh, I
That's
thought
it?
she was finna. I'm like,
Right.
it's just not that deep. Just
Right.
talk to me. Now you're talking about it. Now I'm listening and understanding what you're saying. Ain't that deep.
Right. And you remember, so we was watching War Room. If y'all haven't watched that, go check that out. And the guy was saying when he lost his job,
Yeah.
and he was like, he told his wife, and
yeah.
he was ready to. He said, "I
Defend
was ready
himself.
to defend myself already before she even said anything
Yeah.
to him. He already had the mindset of I'm going in here to defend myself because I know that she's going to give me a earful, and I'm just going to be ready to defend myself." And when she went in and was calm and sweet, and her energy was understanding, her energy was, it wasn't negative, it was positive, and it just caught him off guard because he was ready to go to war,
Yeah.
with her because he lost his job. And so when God works on your heart,
Mm-hmm.
that change your communication,
Mm-hmm.
because now you're looking at it in a godly way, a spiritual way,
Yeah.
instead of a negative way or a fleshly way.
Mm-hmm.
So when
That's
God
good.
really starts to work on your heart, your communication will change. Your tongue will change.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
offense, like a
yeah.
lot of times, offense is one of the biggest attacks that the enemy tries to use. He
Yeah.
loves the spirit of offense
Yeah.
because he knows that if we get offensive and we get offended by what someone say,
Mm-hmm.
for one, it's gonna be division. Like we're no longer gonna be united because now I feel like you're always at me. Now I feel like it's you start getting that victim
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah.
So when I'm offended, it's like I always got to be defensive.
Defensive. Yeah.
So when I'm always defensive, I'm not listening to you
Yeah.
to understand
Understand.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm listening to you so that I can respond and that I can show you. Because I remember when we used to have conversations and I used to tell you certain things, it used to be like, I used to always tell you, you so defensive.
Yeah.
Like, you defensive about everything. Like, I'm just trying to talk to you.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times when we let the spirit of offense control us and we let the spirit of offense, because a lot of times it's deep rooted in a lot of things. Like
Right.
it can be from childhood, it can be
Right.
from uh, different relationships and friendships that we've been in previously,
Right.
and we bring that over into
Into the
our
relation.
marriage
Yeah.
and other relationships. So I think a lot of times the enemy uses offense to keep us divided, to keep us from getting to a
Mm.
point where we can communicate with each other effectively,
Yeah.
where we
Yeah.
can really because when we get an understanding,
Standing.
then
Yeah.
that's when the Bible says that all things get an
Understanding.
understanding.
Yeah.
So when you get an understanding, that's when you walk that path together. That's when you get on one accord, and the enemy does not want that. He doesn't want marriages. He doesn't want
Right.
families. He doesn't, want us to
Yeah.
be on one accord where we can continue to grow
Right.
and continue to help other
Other
people
people.
have effective communications where their families can grow.
Right.
So I think a lot of times non-communication, where offense breeds non-communication, and when you stay in offense, you're not going to communicate effectively
Mm-hmm.
where you can grow in your marriage and relationships.
Right. And remember, we was talking about when people have conversations, and you're not actively listening because you're already thinking about what you gonna say
Mm-hmm.
once they get done talking,
Yes.
right? So hey, that may be you, and
Mm-hmm.
you're talking with your husband, girlfriend, friend, whoever, and you're already thinking about, all right, as soon as they get done talking, I'm
What
about
I'm
to
gonna say.
say this, and I'm gonna get them told, right? But how about you try to actually listen to what they're saying, be
Mm-hmm.
present in the conversation, and understand their emotions and understand their mind and understand their feelings and where they're coming from. And I think we had to work with that too,
Mm-hmm.
because you was kind of always like, why you think like that, or
Yeah.
why you like this. And I'm like, man, you have to understand that this is just how I feel,
Yeah.
and this is how I think, and that's just me. And once people kind of understand that, like, that person and who you're talking to, then you can communicate better with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because even with a leader, and they have a army or who or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
they can't treat everybody the same. You
Yeah.
can't talk to everybody the same. Some
Mm-hmm.
people you have to talk to differently. Some people you can't be aggressive with. Some people you have to be patient with.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to understand who you're communicating with, so y'all can communicate, right? So one thing that can help, it helped me, was actively listening.
Mm-hmm.
Men, we have to be present when our women, they're talking. We know they talk a lot. I mean, that's just women. They gonna go on, they gonna hit 10 different points and be like, and then ask you about point one. You like, well,
You just
you
said a
just said
lot.
about 9 other things, so I'm trying to process all this together, right? But we have to actively listen, guys. In ways we can do that, just while they're talking, maybe just ask a question, right? Just be engaged, right? Just kind of say, well, man, I think such and such, such and such, such and such, while they're talking, and just kind of slow them down, because that's what I have to do. I'm like, well, man, what about this or what about that? Just to kind of, just to show her that I'm actually listening to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so, guys, just actively listen. I know why they're talking to us. We on our phones and we watching the game, and they want to come talk to us. But we have to, something that I do. I just pause it and be like, yeah, babe. I just give her my attention, and
I think
I
you be
press
trying to
play.
be funny sometimes. I think you just pause it like, okay.
Just pause it, but I want to show her that I'm actually listening to her. So that's one good tip for you guys if you may be having communication issues with somebody. Just take the time to actually be present and actually listen to what the other person is saying, and you can learn so much and you can hear so much just by doing that.
Yeah, and I read something one time too. I don't know if it was a video. I don't know if I saw a video or read something, but basically they said with active listening, if you repeat back what the person said,
Exactly.
then that helps you understand what the
Yeah.
person's saying. Because just say if I say something, you be
Yeah.
like, so what you're saying is, I can say, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I said, or no, you
No,
didn't
you
understand
understand.
what I said.
You ain't listening.
You know what I'm saying? So now
Yeah.
is making sure we both it
Understand.
just goes back to that
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah. So couples, before you are a couple, you are individuals. You had to grow up. You had to be raised by parents and grandparents or whoever. So I know we wanted to talk about as well being raised with love and or survival. So being raised in a loving environment and being raised in off of survival. And that was a good point when you was telling me because we come from two different environments. I was, raised in love. Like my dad family, they are all loving and want to hug and kiss you and tell you they love you and talk to you. My mom was like that as well. But that's not the same, kind of case for you. You came from a different environment, and so, when we came together, it was kind of different for you, right?
Yeah.
You want to kind of explain maybe how it was being raised off of survival.
Yeah, so I think when people see that question or see that meme or have that question come up, they automatically think that I wasn't raised off of love.
Love, yeah.
Like my family didn't love me. And that's
Right.
not necessarily the case. I do believe my family loved me. I do believe my mom loved me. Being raised, there was love, but I wasn't raised in a house where I heard I love you all the time. I
Okay.
wasn't raised in a house
Yeah.
where, and it's not necessarily that I didn't feel love, because I know for a fact they love me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't where, I get home from school every day and I'm getting hugs and kisses and all of that. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was. So when you and I met and you were all touchy and I'm just like, get back.
Yeah.
Hold up, you in my space. And for
Yeah.
a long time, it was like, and I think I tell you this all the time, like I didn't grow up in the house. I was basically the only child in the house.
Right.
So I'm used to being by myself. I'm used
Right.
to, like, I can just go in there. I'll be all right. I ain't got to talk to nobody. I don't have it. Like when I'm here and you at work, I don't have the TV on. Like I'm okay with being. So now when you have somebody that's always in your space all the time, it's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
But I had to also understand that you're used to people telling you they love you. You're used to getting hugs and kissing on it. So I had to kind of adjust
Yeah.
the way that I grew up, or what was kind of embedded in me, to still make you feel loved as well. Because
Right.
just because I didn't get it, or just because I didn't have that or experience that, I didn't want to make you feel like it was wrong. Because it's a great thing. Like I loved it. Like now I love it.
Yeah.
I tell you all the time, do you know I love you? And it's so funny. We was talking about it yesterday, and you was like, oh, that's why you always be asking me, do I know you love? Like, yeah, I know you love me, but I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. I know for a fact my mama loved me. I know my daddy loved me, but it wasn't like I heard it
Yeah.
all the time, and we need that.
So how important?
Kids need it.
Yeah, I'm saying how important is it to hear it? I mean, like you said, you knew
Yeah.
that they loved you. Maybe by actions or
Yeah.
they took care of you.
Yeah.
But how important is it to actually hear it?
Like growing up now, like even when I think about just friends growing up in school, and I would see how their parents, treated them, I was like, like it didn't hit me then like I wish I had that, but now looking back
Yeah.
and I see how kind of aggressive and mean kids are or
Yeah.
disrespectful kids are,
Yeah.
or when we're in certain stores and we see how the parents are talking to
Talking
these
to them, yes,
kids.
I hate it.
If you're getting that in the house, then when you go out into the world, that's how you're going to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know for a fact my mama loved me to death because she made sure, and I tell the story all the time, she made sure that if anything happened to her, that I would be able to take care of myself at
Yeah.
the end of the day. But I do feel like that doesn't have to be, that doesn't have to be kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Interchange or change for or exchange. That's the word I'm looking for. It doesn't have to be exchanged for loving on your child.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you still can be soft. You still can show your child or tell your child you love them.
Yeah.
But still, my grandma used to tell my mama all the time, "You making her grow up too fast."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I appreciate it though. Like, I
Yeah.
love it because I'm able to at 7, 8, 10 years old, I'm able to survive out here. Like,
Yeah.
I'm good. And I had to just think back and just talking to my mom now, she didn't get it.
Yeah.
Her
That's what's
mom,
usually passed down.
yeah, her mom didn't embrace her and tell her I love you and, you know, make sure that she felt like really, really felt love.
Yeah.
So when she had a child, it wasn't embedded in her already, so it wasn't passed down. It wasn't passed down to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's very important because the way that you're communicated to in your home is the way that you communicate to the world.
That's good.
And just
Good.
say if like I just said, when we hear how these families or parents are degrading and literally cussing these children
Big
out,
cuss words,
3
too.
years, like, yeah, we were in.
Be like,
Let me tell y'all, I hate ghetto Walmart, and I hate Walmart.
words.
Literally, he know it. So he be like, "We going?" I'm like, "No, can we go to Publix?" But some stuff we just have to get from Walmart. But anyway. We were walking and we were going through the self checkout, and it was probably a 2, 3-year-old child sitting in a buggy. They were sitting at the top buggy, so what is that? Probably no more than 4 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if they picked something up or something, but baby, she cussed that baby out like she was talking to her man.
Yeah.
Like a
hate
full grown adult. And I
hate
think it caught both of us off guard because we
Look,
both
I
stopped
lied.
and looked.
Dang.
She looked at us like, so we done walked on out the store. But it's crazy because think about how that baby at that age is being talked to and how rough,
Right.
you know, they're being communicated to. So when you go out in the street or you see someone, like, you're not calm.
Right.
You're not, you know, going into it with love.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know your mom loves you because she's taking care of you, but you didn't hear loving affirmations or to get told that you're loved. So when you go out in the street, you're going to talk to people the same way that your parents talk to you. And that's why we see a lot of kids now, the way that they act and the way that they talk and some of the actions that they take.
Yeah, for sure. And so for me, you know, my mom, she didn't get it, you know, in her family. So she was like, when she had her children, she said, I'm gonna make sure that I affirm my children, that I tell them I love them, I show them love. And so I just I got that from her just because she didn't get it and she wanted to break the cycle. So I do remember, you know, her hugging me, telling me she loved me, and my uncles, they'll be, stop kissing on him, hugging on him, you gonna make him soft. But I was like, well, it wasn't in a soft way, it was just in a loving way. Like, I'm just putting love in him, because if I don't put love into my child, who will?
Yeah.
The world ain't gonna put no love into him. You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? So I think she was just taking care of me in that way, but she was still letting me be a boy, you know, and grow into a man or whatnot. And so I feel like it's very important, because now your child is not seeking for love in the wrong places. Because you know that my mom loved me, my dad loved me, my family loved me. I know because they tell me, they show me, and, you know, I hear them say it. And so now you're not looking for love in all the wrong places, in the man
and
or
other
in the
people.
job or in different, in the club or drugs. You know, you're not looking for it there, because you know that you're loved at home.
Yeah.
And
That's so
I know
good.
you were saying about effective communication in the house, and that's very important too, because like you said, if however you're communicated to in the house, that's how you gonna go out here and communicate in the world. And now you don't, you know, you can't hold a a sentence together. You can't even put a proper sentence together without cussing.
Yeah.
I mean, we we grew up with this family, man, and every time they talked in their sentence was a cuss word. I'm like, bruh. And we like, 12, 13, we in high school or whatever. And every time they said they had we was talking and communicating and they without a sentence, I mean, every time that they talked in their sentence, it was a cuss word. So I'm like, bro, why is this? So, we used to go over their house or whatever and they dad, it was a cusser. Big cuss, so you're we don't have kids, but we do understand that kids see whatever the parents do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if and again in War Room,
Oh, yeah.
the mama, she wrote down her prayers, put it in her closet. You know what the little girl did? Wrote down her prayers and put it in her closet. So your children are watching you, parents. We want to speak to the parents, even though we're not parents. We always talk about when we do have kids how we're gonna raise our child.
Yeah.
But parents, watch what you're doing around your children. You cussing, you doing things, and they're watching you. They see you, and they're absorbing that, and they're going out into the world, and they're doing the things that you're doing. So just make sure that you communicate to your children effectively, because it matters. You're building up this little human into that's going to be an adult, and everything that they go through now and everything that they experience now is going to shape them and mold them into either an effective human being right here in this world, or they're going to be negative. I hate to say it, but that's just kind of what it is. So showing effective communication in a household is just so important.
I
And
seen a Facebook post that said, should parents apologize to kids?
yeah,
Of course, they're human.
Yeah.
Like they're still people.
Yeah.
They're just little people.
little people, yeah,
They're just younger
Yeah.
younger people.
Yeah.
But I still think that you should apologize. And I honestly, I can't remember my mom telling me I'm sorry. I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember her sending me down. I'm sorry, Courtney, I shouldn't have did that. Oh, I'm sorry, Courtney, I shouldn't have said that. Or, I ain't gonna tell the story, but we was laughing about it. But anyway, she just swore up and down I had did something. I would never, ever, ever forget. I'm not honing on it at all, because we laugh about it. Me and her still laugh about it to this day. But she thought I had really did something. And I told her it wasn't me. It wasn't me. And when she really found out that it wasn't me, I never got, I'm sorry, I really thought it was you. I do apologize. I should have believed you.
Yeah.
And that really means a lot to children.
Yeah.
Because it makes you feel that my feelings still matter.
right.
Because a lot of times, growing up, we heard stay in a child's place, or, you're a child, I'm the adult. Yeah, but I'm still a human. Like,
Right.
what I think, and my feelings still matter. And I
Right.
think a lot of times we should create that atmosphere for children to still be vocal. And it's so
Right.
funny because I was raised to be vocal.
Yeah.
I was raised to express myself, but a lot of times when I did express myself, it was like, you being disrespectful. But this how you raised me. Like, this what you want me to do. This what you told me to do. But I think we should get to a point where everybody, whether it's children, whether it's, older people, like whoever, understanding that the way people communicate is sometimes is the way that they feel. And the way people feel is the way that they communicate. And one thing about it, people sometimes will forget what you said, but they'll never forget the way you made them feel. They'll forget something sometimes. I probably can't remember that conversation, but I remember how I feel about the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, if we take that into consideration, if we take a lot of times feelings, now sometimes some folks just wear their feelings just, you know what I'm
On their
saying?
face.
Just sometimes.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we can step back and say, oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
So now when we have I will apologize 99 times now.
And I used to apologize a lot. And you was like, why you always apologize?
Indeed.
And I was like, why do you want to let you know
I'm
that
tired of sorry.
I'm sorry. I am. I'm not doing this on purpose. It's just how I'm wired and just how it happens.
Yeah.
My bad. Cool, my bad.
And
Forgive
nothing is nothing is wrong with that.
Yeah.
But it goes back to survival and love.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like she never tell me you gotta be salt, you gotta be hard out here.
Yeah.
But it was just the way that I'm just conditioned to make sure. A lot of times it kind of goes back to control. I never forget my therapist at the time told me a lot of the issues you have with control is due to security. It's some form of security that either you lacked or that you needed growing up. So now
good.
that's why you feel like you have to be in control.
That's good.
So a lot of times that's why I'm hard, or
Yeah.
that's why, or used to be, because now, baby,
Yo,
when
what they call it now?
soft life era, baby, listen, honey, I ain't picking nothing up. I ain't. You can let me call my husband. He can do it, because now I just understand that like it's okay to have somebody there that loves you and
Yeah.
that understands or wants to even try to understand
Yeah.
understand you, understand how you feel, the way you think. And it also makes me want to be soft for him, because he don't want nobody that's always just at every little thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, first of all, who wants that anyway? And I knew I didn't want him to have to like walk around on eggshells. So for me, it was just a deliberate change that I had to pray about. As you said earlier, you know, when you want to change, gotta change your heart in the way that you process and the way that you respond to certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I had to willingly want to make a change and want to do better and want to be better, and to like, you ain't the enemy.
Yeah.
Like he ain't my enemy. And a lot of times we feel like the people closest to us are our enemies. A lot of times we feel like just because somebody doesn't agree or think the way, like that automatically makes them the enemy.
Yeah.
But it just goes back to communication.
Yeah. Another tip too to communicate better is just be aware of how you communicate it. Like, you have to acknowledge that you're a bad communicator.
Yeah.
You know, and once you take accountability for it and say, "Hey, I'm terrible at communicating," then find ways to do better.
Yeah.
Even if you got to Google it, watch YouTube, talk to somebody, talk to a therapist, whatever you need to do to become a better communicator is going to help you live your purpose. It's going to help you live your dreams. It's going to help you be more positive in life. So you have to be aware. That's that's a good tip that what we, when we came together, we were aware of, okay, this is how you communicate. This is how I communicate. This is where I messed up at. I'm sorry. This is where you messed up. I'm sorry. And I, when we first started talking, I did something and it got us off to a bad start, but we was able to reel it back in. I called my mom and I told my mom, I was like, "Mom, she a lot." And I wasn't used to it. And then my mom ended up coming and saying something to her. Or I forgot how it actually happened, but it was bad. It turned into a bad situation because I didn't communicate to her how I felt. And so I know you see how she looking at me. She's giving me that. And that's another way of communication. Just facial. You didn't even have to say nothing, body language. Facial expressions is the way of communication as well. I felt it, but you can communicate. I didn't communicate properly, man. So I turned the situation bad because I wasn't able to communicate, and so I had to be aware of that. Like, okay, certain stuff I just as in my marriage, I just don't talk to my mom about. I find somebody else to talk to, or I talk to actually my wife about it, because that's who I need to be talking to anyway about it.
That's who's gonna change it.
And that's who's gonna change it, So.
But no, so I like that you said becoming aware. You have to be aware of you not being able to communicate. Be aware of how you're communicating. So I know for me, I didn't even understand how unaware I was of how some of the things I experienced molded me until I went to therapy. It's crazy. Like, that's one of the things that I think that really changed my life for communication. That really, really changed my communication, and that in turn helped change my life in the way I communicate with people. So what is something that you would tell people, tell listeners, is a way to become aware? Like, how can you actually become aware of what you're doing, become aware of how things that you've been through has molded you? Like what's the first steps of even discovering that?
Um,
Because I know a lot of people,
look,
a lot of people feel like they ain't got no problem.
yeah,
Like
they ain't
nothing
got no problem.
wrong.
Yeah. I would say look at your past, and see how when you had different conversations with people, see how they actually went for you. Like, did you? Cause have you ever said, okay, I had a conversation where we ain't getting nowhere with that. You ever had a conversation like,
Yeah.
well, we ain't getting nowhere with that conversation. So kind of look back at them like, well, okay, we didn't communicate correctly, because we didn't get our point across. Like
Yeah.
we didn't leave the table with an understanding. So then now you can be aware and say, okay, well, maybe I should have said this, or I should have said it this way, or I should have asked these questions. I think that helped me, and then even when we have conversations now, I'm looking at your body language. I'm looking at how you're responding to me, and I'm being aware of, okay, she liked that. She didn't like that. She liked when I said that. She didn't like when I said that. Um, your facial expressions tell me a lot too. Like,
Ooh, child, they
yeah,
tell. I'm still working on it. Help me. Help
oh,
me.
she got it. She got an attitude, low key, but she gonna deal with it or whatever, or So, um, I think you have to just look at your past, and you have to see how your conversations been going in the past, and see, um, have they been effective or not, and then you can say, man, I need to work on my communication, um, and I think that'd be a good way, for you to show.
I think that's good. I think it's because, and I think I love that you said to go back to your past because a lot of times past relationships, past
Yeah.
situations we've dealt with,
Yep.
a lot of that plays into the person that we are today, and I don't think we
Yeah.
really understand it. And a lot of times, like I remember, I used to always say, "Who raised you? Like,
Yeah.
why you think like that?" But we have to understand that just because we were raised a certain way doesn't mean it has to be that way.
Yeah.
Just because, we were taught certain things, that doesn't necessarily make it right.
Right.
That what was right for your household at that time.
Right.
So I think it's just important that we understand that most of the time, it's something on down the line from the past is
Mm-hmm.
what is affecting our effective communication.
Mm-hmm. Facts. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And you have to now just be aware. You have to be actively listening to
Mm-hmm.
your conversations, and be present, and understand where that person coming from. Don't be so ready to defend yourself. Don't be so ready to attack the person. Just actually come in with an open mind and hear that person out.
Yeah.
And once you put all those things together, I believe that you will communicate better.
Yeah.
You know.
And be okay with I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And not, well, I'm sorry you felt that way. That's not an apology.
I'm sorry you felt that way.
I'm sorry I made you
You
feel that way. That was
Yeah.
not my intention.
Yeah.
And then start off, you know what I'm saying, instead of, well, I'm sorry you felt that way, because
Yeah.
I used to say that.
Cause that's still
That's still
defending your health,
because basically you
yourself
saying you feel that
that
way.
way. Yeah.
No, I made you feel that way. I didn't mean to make you feel that way.
Yeah.
This is what I meant.
Yeah. Cool. And it's important to communicate properly because um, like it aligns still with your purpose. What if Jesus couldn't communicate properly, and he didn't reach his purpose? He knew he was down here for a reason, and he would tell the people. But what if he couldn't communicate to him, to the people, that he was the Messiah, that he was here to die? Well, but they was here. He was here to die for us, and you might not be able to write a book. If you can't communicate right, you can't host a podcast. You can't live in your purpose if you can't communicate properly, right? So being effective communicator is very, very important, and there's so many ways, and so many topics and things that we could go, but we just wanted to give just small nuggets, and just talk about it, and make it an episode. But that's all I got, man. What else you got?
Nah, I think it's good.
I can put my glasses on, my shades back on. We're gonna end it like that.
Cut, Braxton.
We're gonna end it the same way we started it. You feel me, baby? You know. Low down. Play my theme music. We still rolling. All right, y'all, but for real, man, we love to have fun. You can see this is just us, man. We thank you for everybody that's tuned in. We thank you for everybody that's subscribing, man. We thank you for all the views and the support. It means a lot to us, man. We going to the top. You know what I mean? You got anything else for the?
Take them.
She won't let me be. Let me be.
I think today was an incredible episode. We pray that we said something that makes you even just think about, how you affect, how you see them glasses throwing me out. Stop playing. We're gonna rewind us back, Braxton, and we're gonna pick up right here.
I want all this in there.
But no, I pray that we said something today for real that makes you just kind of think through or think about how you communicate, whether it's with your spouse, whether it's with friends, whether it's with your parents, just anyone that you talk to, daily. Just think about how you're communicating with them, whether you're on the speaking end or you're on the listening end. And I think it'll change when you really start understanding that I'm talking to understand the other person as well, not just for me to be understood, but I'm talking as well for the other person to be understood, so I can know, exactly how they want to be communicated to.
Right.
A lot of times we always say, we want to love people the way they want to be loved, but we also need to communicate the way that they need to be communicated to. Because you can talk, like you said earlier, you can talk to some people soft, you can talk to some people aggressive, but the people that you can't talk to aggressive, you go in aggressive talking to them, some go on one ear and out the other.
Shut down.
So I think that's really good. I think we should become more aware of how we communicate or how we realize communication. Communication is in social media every day.
Every day.
Communication is when we go out in the world, and we like you were saying, like body language and your facial expressions, like all of that is some form of communication. Although someone may not say it out of their mouths,
right,
the way that they look about a certain thing when you say it, the way that they may change their attitude and their body language, like all of that plays into communication. And we're not perfect when it comes to, but we have come a long, 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 long way. And I pray God continues to grace us to do this thing. And the same advice that was given to us, never stop talking. I'm going to talk, but never stop talking.
Yeah. Hey, man, so that's it. Man, we just thank y'all guys again for all the support. Yeah. And until the next episode, you already know. Load up and peace.
Nah, you can't do it. This how I'm be looking at you. Cause why?
I'm in character, bro. I'm in character. I'm in podcast, jet.
What character? Why character though? It's fake. Characters are put on.
No. I put on. I'm in character. I'm in that mode. Playoff mode. Podcast mode.
Wait, so when you gonna take them out?
When I get done with my introduction.
Make sure I don't got the cockeye over here.
Right. Don't like.
Alright, cool. I don't think I got the cockeye.
Alright.